Okay, plan B. So welcome to our closing session that we started off with that wonderful plenary talk from Gail Kampmeyer with Terry Ong to give us this long history and perspective on TDWG. And I think at this point, it's an opportunity for me to share a short, I will keep it short, y'all have to cut me off, story. So you don't have to answer this. You can keep the answer in your own head. It's kind of going to sound like a very silly question. Do you think that I bring value to TDWG? Me as a person, yes? So I have to be careful. I tell this story or I'll need a Kleenex. Many years ago now, I wanted to come to TDWG. I was fascinated by the topic. I was very interested in understanding. I come from I have a master's in education and understand systems theory. And I wanted to understand more about data, and I was learning on the job SQL. So I was getting my fingers into the data and beginning to learn about it. And when I asked if I could go to TDWG, I was told that I didn't have anything to bring to the table. So the perception of at least some people was that you had to already have knowledge about data standards before you could come to the TDWG table, that you already had to have knowledge about ontologies and whatever the heck that means, you know, that you already had to have this. It took me some work to ask people, did you know anything about TDWG? Heck no, Deb, I went for 5 years before I understood anything anybody was talking about. And I was like, all right, I need to find another way to get into TDWG, all right? Rather than ask the people I was asking, many of you who know me, I just found another way into the community. Once I got into the community, it was fine, right? But the door was closed to me. The formal doorway into this community was not open. And I hope that I have been a part of changing that for many people that are here, for making them comfortable, for making them understand. The imposter syndrome is real. Am I an expert in, what was that, neural networks and named entity recognition? Certainly not. But when I see a force-directed graph, can I get very excited and go back to Matt Yoder at work and say, oh my goodness, you know, can we do this in our database because this is so cool? And Matt, he implements it, and the first thing he as a data modeler learns after doing that is 2 boo-boos in the data model, right? So he got something out of that. So I just wanted to share that following on with Gail's talk about this analyzing who has what skills to bring to the table and evaluating their value and ensuring that you're not having tunnel vision when it comes to who you invite to your table. So thank you for letting me do that. That story has been wanting to get out for a long time. Thank you. With that, I think in my bag somewhere, I want to make sure everybody gets stickers. And I do have an announcement to make that won't be a surprise to many of you. We certainly have had a couple of people essentially probably have COVID. And so you should, if you're concerned, you know, make sure you take care. If you have a question, if you want to know where you can get a test, we have some. If you want to know what to do, talk to Christina and at the front desk there if you have a question about that. Meanwhile, take care of yourself. So I want to start by saying thank you to all of our participants, both online and in person. It's been quite an adventure planning a hybrid meeting. So briefly, what we're going to do now is go quickly through a series of slides that kind of give you a great overview of the activities of TDWG and TDWG's members. We started out with this keynote, and I wanted to present just some perspectives from the executive. This is not a comprehensive slide. It would not be possible to do so in the time that we have. So what about other standards groups? The Genomic Standards Consortium, amazing standards. And we have, along with things like MIXS and Darwin Core, we signed a memorandum of understanding with them that is both social and technical. Social in the sense that we agree to work together When things change, we talk to each other, but we write the mechanism for changes between our standards together so that if ours change, they're notified in a programmable way and a social way, so that they can make the changes on their side and vice versa. As Gail talked about, the collection description standard, this group wanted to name a standard after a woman because there were standards named after men, and they wanted to provide some balance. The World Geographic Scheme for recording plant distributions, again, is undergoing development and broadening, and it's curated by the Geographical Schemes Interest Group and other people in this room. Raise your hand if you are part of that group. Are you here? I know William's not here and Terry can't be here. There, William, you are here. There you are. He can tell you much more about this group than I can. We have a new task group that we worked on fostering the development of for mineralogy standards. We have, as you saw, a whole talk about our new logo to support a new vision and mission statement in preparing for a strategic development plan. We signed on to support the Fair Digital Objects Conference as a supporter of what they do. And so we'll be at the table as part of advising the work that they do. There's FDO people here in the room. Yes. Yep. Okay. Very cool. And we are certainly part through the work that GBIF is doing of supporting whatever we need for the new enhanced data model. This is our first hybrid meeting, as you know, and we all know we'll be going to more of these. Very quickly, Terry would say much more about this than me. We are active members in Bicycle. Who's the Bicycle members here in the room? Yeah, a lot. And we're providing the role that we bring the expertise to the table in case standards are missing or where they are can be employed to do this connecting work that Bicycle is working on. We have a journal. Now I have a question for you again. Let me think how to ask it. If you wanted to publish a full-length article that had something to do with biodiversity data standards, data exchange, data linking, would you publish it, or did you know you could publish it in BIS? Raise your hand if the answer is yes, if you knew that. You knew you could publish a full-length article in the journal. Okay, cool. A lot of people did know. Great. We have, I think we're going to have a total of 3 soon. One is already there, one just out, and one is in review. Consider we pay for a number of pages. So far, we haven't exceeded them every year, the number of journal pages. And so it's an opportunity for you. We've got space. If you've got an article, talk to us. That's the leftover pages on this slide. And a new contract that we have talked a little bit about, but are working on. Very briefly, understand that many of you already know that there's a working session. Steve, where are you? We're not quite there yet, but Steve is, I wanted you to see, he's been leading the way to organize this. Registration is open and free. So these are, good. Okay, great. He put a link in the chat. So these groups are going to meet. If you're interested in what they do, what they work on, and you want to know more, or one of your colleagues does and you want to get involved, there's your opportunity. And now we're going to walk quickly through the reports from many of the interest or task groups and functional subcommittees. And somebody's going to keep me on time because I don't know how, I don't see a clock here. Well, we only had 40 minutes for this whole session, so we probably have about 20 minutes left, I'm guessing. Arthur, yes, please, you come. Talk to the top of the mic, right? Y'all tend to do this, and then nobody can hear. So this way.
Thanks, Deb. The Data Quality Interest Group, we have Thanks, Deb. See you. We have 4 task groups, or we had 4 task groups. 1 and 3 are fairly well finished. 3 has been closed off. 2 is the key one that we're working on at the moment, and I think there's another slide on that. And the vocabularies of value is ongoing with The data quality tests and assertions, the next slide. We've got 98 tests and their parameters. The tests are nearly complete. We hope to have a draft standard within the next 6 to 12 months, and contact Lee Belvin for that part, or myself.
Well done. I, for one, can't wait for us to get many of those tests built into Taxon Works so the data goes out without issues in the first place. Yay. Matt, are you here? Yay.
Hi, I'm Matthew Blissett of the GBIF Secretariat. Tim's attending remotely, so I'm presenting his slide for him. We've not really done much on the infrastructure functional subcommittee because we think everything's working quite well. A few years ago, most things were moved away from servers hosted by GBIF onto things like GitHub. So we have some basic maintenance that we continue with. I do most of that. And in the coming months, Peter has volunteered to update the website, updating the technology, and applying the new brand. I think that's all really.
Much appreciated, Matt. Steve?
Well, some of you were at our talk, so I won't go through all of the details, but basically we're done. Yay. So our controlled vocabularies have been submitted to the Audubon Corps Maintenance Group, and they'll, next time they meet, take a look at it, and it should be going to the public comment period. So if you go to the talk I gave, you can find the link to the various resources. So check it out, and when the public comment period comes up, please comment.
Excellent. Something to look forward to. This is Marika Peterson has led the way here and has already had to leave today, but we have, as you know, you've heard about this now like 3 times, the new statement, the new logo, which is now being incorporated into the website. Terry went to an event called the Biodiversity Informatics Market, where she was able to share with the people in Tudruven who attended this event more about empowering biodiversity and through the work of TDWG. And we have a working session. We are participating there on 10 November at 3 p.m. UTC. Matt?
Thank you. Right, well, yeah, we've had a fairly busy year in the CD Data Standard Task Group. We've been pretty much laser focused on doing an extended sprint or high-speed marathon, or however you look at it, to getting Latimer over the line. We've been having weekly core team meetings to work on the standard, and finally, a couple of months, we got there to the point where we could submit it to expert review. So we're now in a pretty good dynamic process with the reviewers, which means that we can fix things when they tell us about them, and hopefully that means we don't get to the end of that process and have a great long list of things to do. Looking forward, I guess, is into a point where hopefully we can do get into the kind of public comment phase, hopefully kind of early next year-ish. In the meantime, we've been trying to keep tabs on what else is happening around different aligned TDWG task groups, particularly around things like meds and material sample. It's a bit of a moving feast, but hopefully these things will all come into alignment around about the end. And yeah, we've generated quite a lot of material, so please do go and have a look. And if you're interested in joining us, we do still have monthly interest group meetings. They've become a bit small as we've been a little bit closed in, but we should be widening all that out again and getting ourselves ready for the more public comment period and starting to open up more of the conversations around collection descriptions and what we can do with people like GR Cycle and with Disco to start seeing what the Latimer core applications might be for them. Thank you.
On a personal note, being part of this at the beginning, I'm not formally active in it right now. I would like to say it was very exciting to be part of understanding how the review process works at TDWG. And this standard is currently in review, as Matt said. Quentin.
So the people in biodiversity data task group, I talked about that just half an hour ago or something like this. You know it all. We've just published our disambiguation paper, but we still need to work on the standard, the extension to Darwin Core for people and their identifiers. Yes, we have a meeting in Oslo in February. Some of the people here will be invited to that. If you don't know it yet, I will write to you soon on making personal data from specimens collections. That's a European thing, unfortunately, unless you want to pay to come, of course. And you'll be very, very welcome if you did. Yeah, I think I've said it all before. Please do join our group. We haven't had meetings recently, but we'll probably restart them again when we start thinking about the standard as well. Thank you.
Thank you. This is supposed to be me, even though, but yes, you? Excellent. I'm glad to know that.
Okay, so I'm just filling the spot for David and Anton. So David at the moment is flying back home and Anton is having a sore throat, so he's not able to speak. So he asked me to do this reporting. So the ABCD interest group has been working on the ratification of the ABCD 2.06 under the SDS rules, as it was ratified before the STS. The ratification is necessary because A, B, C, D, E, F, G is also in the process of being ratified. And so it is important to keep them compatible. Next slide, please. Okay. So they had several meetings with the people from the Linan Core Interest Group to figure out how to best fit XML standards in the regulations for the STS. The next interest group meeting is in the TDWG workshop week in November. That's 7th of November at 16-hour Central European time. Okay.
Steve, would this be you or Rich is not? No, this is taxon concept. Yes. Any taxon concept people here, TCS? So I think this would be Rich Pyle if he was here. And Niels Klazenga, I think, leads this group from down under. Where's Niels from? Melbourne. From Melbourne. So this is the taxon concept schema. So you heard Rich Pyle talking about, and William, you want to say something? Are you raising your hand or you're part of the group? Yeah. Do you want to say anything? I'll bring the mic. Hopefully this is more fun for y'all. You get to hear these different voices, right? And all these different things.
I'm just gonna summarize. So Neil's been pushing the group to get the discussions done. This group is trying just to get the TCS, the former TCS, according to the current standards. There's another group later who's going to go and work more on the extension of that. But it's been a lot of work, a lot of discussions. Rich and all these people who know a lot has been discussing on the nitty-gritty terms of concepts and so on. They already have one big draft and all the whole document according to the SDS format. And it's just a matter of we're waiting for the meeting in November probably to have it for review, ready for review.
Ooh, also something exciting to look forward to. Thank you for that, William. Elspeth, your turn. And you can.
Yeah, just we gave a talk earlier this week as well. So just a quick summary. Mid specification, the minimum information about a digital specimen. We have pretty much got the MIDS levels 0 and 1 kind of in place. We're working and making good progress with MIDS level 2. And then the next step is going to be working on MIDS level 3, which is going to be the more ambitious one. And that's going to be working very closely with the Open Digital Specimen Group. We have been meeting monthly, first Thursday of the month. And what I would encourage people to do is go on to the TDWG listserv and sign up to the MIDS listserv, because that's the easiest way to keep in touch. We're also going to be looking at more regular or more frequent meetings to try and get things finished. So that's going to be coming up. We do have a working session in November, the Thursday, the 10th, and I think it's 2:30 UTC, I think it is. So really nice to see more people there. You're very welcome. Thank you.
Sophia? Quentin?
Well, some of you may have been involved in this, but yeah, things die, unfortunately. And Darwin Core doesn't handle it very well. But we have the new term vitality that Steve says should go through. It has enough support from the community, and that's a work in progress. Right. Yeah, so that will go to public comment fairly soon. So please do comment on that. But there's still work to be done on the cause of death extension, including making potentially a control vocabulary for the causes of death. Although, to be quite honest, that's not happening very quickly, and I don't know what Sophia has actually planned for that. But if you want to join us and you want to push that work forward, then please do, and you know, poke us a bit.
Thank you for that. Backing up for just a second, you want to catch us up with reconnecting what it says in the chat that Arturo just posted? I'm lost.
So James, I believe you asked Arturo to put online all the data, and he's already done it.
Yeah, he posted a DOI in the chat, and click, and there you go. Thank you, Arturo. Ask and you shall receive. It's wonderful. Biological interactions. So again, you can see, on the other hand, low activity. You can see we heard Jose Salim mentioned a couple times in some different things today. He's reaching out how to share biotic interactions data. More work needed. Katie, are you ready? You unmute and jump in.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
A little bit soft. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Great. Hi, I'm Katie Pearson. I'm one of the conveners for the Plant Phenology Task Group. And this year we haven't done a whole lot, but we did make a kind of a recent final push. And I'm happy to report that we have an initial mapping of the plant phenology ontology to the extended measurement or FACT extension. In the beginning kind of developments of this task group, we were thinking we were going to develop a brand new extension, but after some discussion and our meeting last year, we kind of thought, oh, it actually might make more sense to map to extended measurement or FACT, since phenology is just a trait. So that's what we're in the middle of doing now, is developing that that mapping and discussing that mapping. So that's what we're going to be doing at our task group meeting in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much, Katie. You can turn on your camera for a minute if you want to wave and say hi. There she is. Where are you, Katie? Oh, you're muted now.
Thank you. I'm currently in San Jose. I'm actually at another conference at the same time.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. Now we have to get back to the slide deck. Are you guys? Ah, wonderful. All right. So for those of you, again, who are interested in plant phenology or in phenology in general, full stuff see their working session. Hadwig materials sample. Teresa, you're with us online too, yes? Oh, do we see Teresa Mayfield in on the list? To look in the list though, because we can't see everybody up there, I think. So, anybody here in the material sample group? Yes. So Steve, perhaps, yeah, can you say something about that? We can go back to the slide then.
Yeah, so I can't say a lot about it, but I will say it's a very active group and has met repeatedly and made a lot of progress. So still more work to be done, but a lot of progress.
So go to the working session and learn more about why we need material sample and what we might be able to do with it. Yes, and she gave a talk. Did she link it in this? Yeah, well, you can look it up on in the journal as well. Humboldt Core, Shanina? Oh, yes. Yay. Did you know you were coming up next?
That's nice. But Steve can also talk about this one. Which one? Okay. Great. Okay, so we also did a presentation on Tuesday, so you're more than welcome to hear the recording. But very briefly, in the Humboldt task group, we are developing an extension to the Darwin Core to basically to provide a standardized vocabulary to capture inventory data, so biodiversity surveys. So if you have biodiversity surveys and you're struggling with Darwin Core and how to fit your data there, please contact us. This is the group. We have revised several of the terms that we are proposing, and we have developed the GBIF people have developed an IPT to test the extension with your data sets. And now we're just like in that weird phase of like testing it and revising it and adding new terms in order to go through the public review very smoothly and finally try to ratify the extension.
Yeah, well done. A lot of work. Paco? Nope. Can somebody else say something about the geoschemes? I can't. Terry's not here. Nope. Nicholas isn't here. If I understand it right, and Terry, maybe if you're still online, I don't know if you're. Yeah, would you like to say something or type in the chat about the group?
Yeah, I will try to say something. I don't know if my connection is rather bad, so it may break. Do you hear me? Even if my voice is still. Okay, so we made some progress on the terrestrial domain, and what we wanted to do is to bring up to date. Can you put the slide online, please, on the screen? Otherwise, I won't be able to. I cannot see it. Oh, okay, thanks. Thanks very much. So we wanted to bring up to date and expanding the original TDWG standard, the World Geographic Scheme for recording plants distribution. Because now it's for all species and not only for plants, and we have included the marine domain. We have continued the work last week. We identified a total of 22 issues on GitHub. The aspects reviewed here were changing in unit's name, changes in unit code, changes in unit delimitation. And this work was done and recorded using GitHub. So what we plan ahead is to constitute a task group for bringing to completion this process, to prepare the necessary spreadsheet to generate the SDS file, and to consider and prepare material to the normative SDS. Next slide, please. Oh
Yeah, I
no,
don't
so
think
that's
there was
the-
only one.
that's- Yeah, that's only one.
There was
Okay.
only one slide. Yep, that
Mm-mm.
was it. Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. for that. Yep. Yep, William, I'll come back there for you. I'll come back. Besides, I get to move around some then.
So, we've been working on the planning core. We gave a presentation about it. Paco did also earlier on Tuesday. We have worked to get the standard up to SDS requirements, and we will fix the latest things that we found there from our this work these weeks, and have it ready, hopefully, for the meeting that we have in November to send to review. And we're looking for a review manager. So if anybody wants to take that task, will be very, very welcome.
Thanks, William. And we have a document online if you want to know what is a review manager, what's their responsibility, what do they do? So we can help you decide if you know someone or if you might take on that role. Steve.
I got all worked up in the views vocabulary summary, and I forgot to say an important thing that I was going to say, which is there's something between a best practice and a requirement that groups that make complicated additions to standards should have an implementation experience report. And you can write one and just stick it in GitHub, but the views group decided to write a paper for BIS. And one of the reasons for that is that the test implementers, which is like a pretty big job, were listed as co-authors on that paper. So if you are in a task group and you're thinking about, writing up your implementation experience, I would recommend you write it as a BIS article. Okay, so the technical architecture group, a lot of people don't know what it is. It's basically a group that looks at problems that are being faced by task groups or things that the executive needs advice about, and we deal with those issues. So I'm new in the last year in the role as convener, and so one of my goals, I had two goals: recruit a bunch of people and meet. Okay, and we achieved both of those things. We met every 2 months, and I recruited a really great team of people. One thing, we have sort of a statutory limit as the number of official members that we can have, and we're at that limit, but it's an open group as far as I'm concerned. So if you're interested in technical issues, please join us. We are meeting during the November sessions, and we'll have sort of an introduction to what the tag is, but we're also going to have a real meeting. And one of the key issues that we have to reach a decision about is identifiers. Should TDWG revise its standard on identifiers, or should we just forget about it and let whatever happens happen? So that's actually an issue that's really high on our agenda. And if you have an opinion about this, or if you want to be the champion for revising the current standard on identifiers, then please join the technical architecture group at our meeting in November.
Oh, William. We'll come back to that. We're getting close, folks. Getting close.
All right, so this will be a quick report. Everything is fine. All right, that's good. No, we're glad to report that we're financially good. We have been very frugal, I have to say, to the point where we have to improve a little on spending on certain lines. Thank you. Thanks to all the volunteers and in-kind contributions and in-time contributions of many of the members in TDWG. That has to be said. Plus also the incredible help from sponsors and supporters who every year come and help us okay, that's it. When the time comes, no, I thought you did. No. And I want to say one more thing. We did have a couple of non-budgeted expenses. We had a copyright settlement that we had to pay for, and we had a logo design that was approved by the exec. But that is already covered by the help from the income that we got. The conference is about the same expenses and income so far, which means that we're going to have some left for us for next year because the budget was done like that. And also we still have a couple of sponsors or contributors that are helping us that already said they will. We have an invoice. We just received their funds. And the other one? And this is every time I do this report, the next days I start getting spam and phishing asking for, hey, William, can you send me from the chair? You always the same thing. Can you send me the amount that we have and how to get it? This is the standing. So what you have to get out of this is we got a very good beginning balance and a better yet ending balance. We're $28,000 more that we can keep there. And of course, it's not for profit for anyone, but for actually our own work and stay healthy for any hopefully not difficult situations. But this is how the financials have been. So I'm be glad to give any details if you need, but that's the summary.
Thank you very much. And as chair, I've learned a whole lot about how to read these and with very kind help from lots of people. One more thing coming.
Mainly the reason because all this is so tidy and good is because of Stan, our coordinator, who keeps this up to the date.
Yeah, big round of applause for Stan. Aha. Dun, dun, dun. Kelly, isn't this your turn? Cool. How many of you know where 2023 is going to be already? Yeah, well, don't tell yet. Okay. I think, is this the point where we need a video? Yeah. Do I need to go to the next slide or no? No, yet. Not yet. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
It's coming. With bated breath. The big reveal. Well, that was a very brief introduction to Tasmania. Thanks to Lee Belbin for all of the images that he provided, the many images that I had to go through and cut down. I'm here on behalf of Ali Wallace and myself as the co-chairs of the next conference. So TDWG was last held in Australia in 2008 in Fremantle, Perth, where I'm from. And we're very happy to have and invite delegates to visit the other side of the continent 15 years later. So Hobart is an additional flight from any of the international arrival cities on the East Coast, so Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. But if you want to come through Perth, there is a direct flight as well. While it is a long way for many of you, it will be fantastic to have you join our Oceania community to take part in a conference in our part of the world. And it will be hybrid, and we are currently wiggling with the program to see how we can have a more convenient time zone and breaks and things for our online audience so we can engage everyone across the globe. So Hobart is a city with easy access to both the bush and the ocean. It boasts a museum, TMAG, Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery, a herbarium and a botanic garden. It also has an internationally recognised art museum, MONA, the Museum of Old and New Art. We'll meet on the waterfront. You got a glimpse of that and enjoy harbour views whilst listening to conference presentations and having wonderful conversations with all of your colleagues. Hobart is a city rich in culinary delights, and there are many excellent restaurants and cafes. And lots of wine. If you ask Lee, lots of really good wine. So Tasmania is also gaining a reputation for excellence in gin and whiskey distilling. And for those that are keen, for those that are keen on that sort of thing. And there is a market, the Salamanca market, held on Saturdays, walking distance from the conference location, which is a highlight for residents and visitors alike. So something to do on the weekend. You can expect mild weather. It won't be too hot in October. It won't be too cold. And so don't panic about getting a heat wave shock in the middle of October. It won't be too bad. We think there are plenty of good reasons to come to Tasmania, and we look forward to welcoming you all. Please consider becoming part of the program committee. When the call goes out, it will be very soon. And come along and help us facilitate making the conference equitable, inclusive and diverse. Thank you. And come along.
We can hardly wait. Oh, next up, let me see. I think I can go to the next slide, right? Because that isn't it. Yeah, right. But now it's time. It's for Mariko Kageyama. So, Mariko, we put the slides in, or you can share, but I think we put the slides in the talk. All right?
Yes.
Okay. So if we go back to the slide deck. And 2024.
All right.
Aha, Mariko, please.
My name is Mariko Kageyama. I'm speaking on behalf of the local organizing committee of the TDWG 2024. We're super excited to share with you our planning and developments for the 2024 conference in Okinawa. Next slide, please. So where is Okinawa? As shown in these maps, Okinawa is an island located in the southwest of the Japanese archipelago in the East China Sea. Okinawa is a part of the island chain of Ryukyu Islands, stretched between Kyushu Island and Taiwan. Access to get there is about 3 hours flight from the hub airport in Tokyo or Hong Kong. The island belongs to the biodiversity-rich subtropical moist forest ecoregion, and it's home to lots of endemic and relict species, both terrestrial and marine. A part of the Okinawa and the Ryukyu Islands are registered World Heritage Sites because of their scientific and cultural significance. Next slide, please. So we have been actively exploring the possibility of meeting jointly with the SPNHC, Society for the Preservation of Natural History Collections in 2024. We're happy to tell you that TDWG SPNHC 2024 is highly promising. We're still waiting their official approval. We'll keep you updated as soon as we hear updates from the SPNHC side. As Gail said earlier, that last time TDWG collaborated with Spinach in hosting a joint meeting was back in 2018 in Dunedin, New Zealand, which was a huge success. So this Okinawa joint conference will provide another great opportunity not only to bring the two organizations with similar goals and vision together for the second time, but also to welcome Asia Pacific members and encourage information in international collaborations with focus on Southeast Asia, East Asia, and Pacific Ocean. The proposed theme of the conference is enhancing local capacity, elevating global standards. And mark your calendar, the proposed week-long conference dates are in the first week of September 2024, with main events happening from Tuesday the 3rd through Saturday the 7th of September. The proposed venue is Okinawa Convention Center, as shown in this picture, located by the beach with affordable hotel accommodations nearby. We're planning to deliver the meeting in a hybrid mode, modeling after the Sophia meeting that was huge success and beautifully executed for the past 5 days. Kudos to the Sophia local organizing team. We're hoping to develop the joint conference program in a fully integrated format to maximize the experience by offering joint symposia and fun networking events. We are also currently actively exploring venues for excursion and technical visits to make your stay in Okinawa outside of the meeting rooms unforgettable. Next, please. So Okinawa seems far away from either Europe or other part of the world, but we encourage your participation and please bring in your partners from East Asian and Southeast Asian countries. Also, if you work with biodiversity data from Asia and other underrepresented regions of the world, including Global South, we urge you to contribute to this meeting. If you have any questions or suggestions, don't hesitate to contact us, Takeru Nakazato, TDWG Asia Regional Representative, or email us at tdwg-SPNHC2024@gmail.com. We look forward to having all of you at TDWG 2024 Okinawa and help us mobilize biodiversity data of the whole island. Thanks.
Thank you, Mariko. And you can see here, thank you much, Mariko, for putting these slides together. You notice Takeru Nakazato, who is currently and has agreed to serve again as the TDWG Asia representative. And it has been incredibly, as you can probably all imagine, critical to have Mariko Kageyama, Takeru Nakazato, and Daisuke Sakuma to be part of making this happen. We could not hold a meeting in this part of the world without their help. There's no way. They have to be native the native Japanese speakers, right? They know how everything works. They can read the contracts, etc. Without them, we couldn't do it. So a big round of applause for them, please. Thanks again, Mariko. And finally, I think, Chandra, I think that's what's coming up next. Not sure. I don't know. We're about to find out. You could go to the next.
Thank you guys for coming and participating in the virtual poster presentation this year. This year we did again decide to do a People's Choice Awards. And so myself, along with my sort of co-presenter, Kat Chapman, would like to sort of announce the winners to you guys. We did have about 50 people vote. So thank you again for voting and kind of voting for your favorites across these categories. Again, the three categories, of course, are best in show, kind of overall. The I had no idea that was even a thing award. So, you go to a poster, you kind of find out something new and you're like, oh, okay. And then the warm fuzzies. So a poster, which for whatever reason kind of made you feel just warm and fuzzy inside. You're like, oh, okay, I really like this one too. So without further ado, the winners for our first topic, best in show, is going to be Ben Collier, Rethinking Collections Management Data Models. Is Ben here? No, he's gone. The second award for the I had no idea that was even a thing goes to Sophie Mayeth, reconnecting communities and biodiverse places to their biological heritage. And then, of course, last but certainly not least is going to be the Warm Fuzzies Award, and that goes to Urko Clavis, an open and versatile identification key format. So then, thank you all for participating in the virtual poster session this year, and we're excited to maybe try this again next year.
That was exciting. And we're getting to near the very end of this adventure. It's been a quick tour through Tadwig, right? From 1985 to now and all the work that's going on. So thank you very much to our local hosts. They could make their way to the front. That would be great. To our supporters. Note that in this year's meeting and last year's, we were able to say to low-income countries, low-middle-income countries, there was no charge for them to participate. We also made the prices for students and postdocs, et cetera, and everything's really, really as low as we could do and could do more, and also encourage people in the way we talk on the website to say, if this is still a barrier to your participation, to let us know. Don't suffer in silence, right? We're trying to make sure the door is open. So with that, I want to mention the supporters, some of whom gave more than they've given in past years. They have understood that to offer hybrid costs more. Hybrid is not cheaper. Virtual is the cheapest, in-person is expensive, hybrid is more. To do hybrid well, more. So considering that this is how Gail pointed out to us, that we get inclusivity, this is how we get more people at the table. It's likely the model of the future. We cannot be this privileged prior, we can only meet in person, and if you're not lucky enough to be here, too bad for you. Right? We don't have that privilege. We can't do that. So to all our supporters, please a big round of applause. I'm trying to remember exactly what's on the next slide. All right. To the local organizing committee. You see here all of their names. A big round of applause for them, please. There is absolutely no way to thank you enough for everything that you have done, for your ideas, for your enthusiasm, for your engagement to bring this together to help us make this meeting what it is. So please be very proud, and we're very thankful. With that, I also wanted to add from all of us, and I think Chuck mentioned this, as did others, a big round of applause to the Vibe team. And I realize you're kind of trying to, yes. They're going to have a very hard time trying to do two things at once. So we're going to come full circle here. I also want to thank all the moderators, the organizers, the helpers, both online and in person. So a big round of applause for them. Should we do them all first? Yeah. Hard. The program committee, it's a little bit, we're some online, some not awake at this time of day, and some here in the room. And then the steering committee, and we all worked very closely together. So I'd say please a big round of applause for all of us We are. I believe you can find VJ online along with Gail. Kat, I might have seen in there as well. Tina Lou, I'm not sure. And of course, I don't know if Ellie, are you with us? No, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's the middle of the night. Okay. And back to the slides, please. I think then we can also see the steering committee. And again, Pat couldn't be with us due to illness. She wasn't able to join, but she did make her presentation remotely. And then everybody else, and Stan is actually online with us now. So he would have been able to hear your rounds of applause, both virtually and in person. We have a few mementos for you and the Vibe team. So let's see how we do this.
I'm not sure.
I am. But Holly, can you? Yeah. I can't do both. Yeah. Oh, there's a note. Cool. Okay, good. All right. So I'm not sure remember which is which here, but both of these. Yeah, no, one of these is for you. Come on. And the other one is for Lubo. So you can, yes. And then we're not done yet. Yeah. Yeah, you can do that part. These are just small mementos, right? There's no real way to express the amount of thanks, but yeah. Yeah, I know. Sorry. And there's one in here for each of the Vibe team members too, but it's a little difficult. Yes, thank you, Dido. Thank you, the whole team. Yep. With that, let me see what comes next. I think, yes, you can all go on to the other side of it. Would you like to say anything? And that just occurred to me. Maybe you.
Well, I only can say thank you for coming to Bulgaria. And as I said last night at the restaurant, if we see you again here, which I really hope to happen in the future on various occasions, on joint projects, on developing our wonderful science, be welcome. If we do that, our task is well done. Thank you.
Thank you all. Now you can relax. Yes. Sort of, yes. Oh, Shelley. With this, after the story that all of you heard, you can imagine when I shared earlier, the whiplash in my brain that sometimes occurs between how did I get from maybe I don't have a seat at Tadwig to being chair. And it's a bit bizarre sometimes in my brain. But it has been a privilege to serve on the Tadwig Executive Committee. I spent 2 years as deputy chair learning the ropes from James Macklin, for which I was very grateful to have, and also others like Demetrius Correas and Cindy Parr, who I would pick up the phone and call and ask questions, other people in this room as well. And all these people make all of this possible, and they connect Tadwig to other parts of the world, other projects, other initiatives, other people who have something to bring to the table. So thank you very much. Big round of applause to the Tadwig exec. You notice I'm not sure exactly, honestly, the right word, but like they're non-voting members, but Stan Bloom, Gail Kampmeyer, and James Macklin. Stan, longtime serving former chair in the past, keeping everything tidy and orderly, and knower of all things Tadwig when we're trying to understand where we've come from and how things used to be done, et cetera, and what we want to do going forward. Gail, as you saw, giving us, again, this very in-depth overview from somebody who's been with Tadwig and one of the first to bring in non-botany background to TDWG and to bring being a female to TDWG as well. And James Macklin, who's here with us in the room. So a big round of applause for the three of them, please. And you can probably guess where it's going on the next slide. So outgoing executive members include Terry, Terry Ung, who you just heard from online with Gail. Takeru Nakazato has agreed to continue, so he's now no longer outgoing. He's agreed to continue as Asian rep. Holly Little. Then also Wouter, are you? There you are. Way back in the back, Flouter, Paula Zermoglio, who is, I don't think she's online. And we just want to say thank you to everybody there on the outgoing exec, and knowing and hoping that they'll continue to be active members in TDWG and resources for all of us. So thank you very much to all of them. All of us are volunteers, right? So keeping all of that in mind, how much work gets done in this community is really mind-boggling. With that, we have opportunity here, right? And I'm curious, I'm trying to keep my eye on the time. Okay, cool, yeah. So out of curiosity and in the spirit of openness here, is there any questions about these roles that people want to ask? Maybe you're newer to TDWG. What do these people do? What are the roles like? Some people in here are very familiar, right? They know it really, really well, but other people not quite so much. Are there any questions? Not a single one. How many years does the deputy chair serve? Anybody know the answer? Oh, 2. Very good. People have been paying attention. All right. So they serve for 2 years as deputy chair and then 2 years as chair. The deputy chair role, as Gail pointed out, is and people in here know better than me, but relatively newish, and was designed for this sort of mentorship 2-year, like an apprenticeship, learning the ins and outs of TDWG. I can say whoever puts their name in the hat for that will be very privileged to work under Ellie Wallace. She is an amazing person to work with, to work for. She is incredibly astute, and I would sign up again if I had the bandwidth, but now having 4 years, it's somebody else's turn, right? So again, it's quite an opportunity. Secretary keeps us together, connects all the pieces so well. Terry has done a marvelous job, and she's been able to sort of bring her own expertise, both in biogeography, to the task groups with her expertise in science, but also her background in equity, diversity, inclusion, understanding as she plays that role at her institution, and bringing that to our understanding of our processes and what we do. So secretary is an open role. Chairs of the committees, I have done some of the funding and partnerships, the fundraising and partnerships. I had no idea I could do that. I did not know. Turns out I can. It was very cool to learn that. So again, it might seem intimidating, but I promise you there's plenty of people to mentor and explain how to move forward with that. The communication outreach, I thought Marika was going to do that again. She's not here, of course, she'd leave. I don't think that's actually open. Oops. But if you're interested, sorry, we certainly would welcome you on the committee to help continue what we do, because all of you have opportunities for outreach for TDWG to link your communities in your spheres of expertise and influence. We do have openings. We have somebody who is interested in the Africa representative role, but if you know someone else, then it becomes a voting situation, and people put in why they would like to, and we hold elections. Latin American rep, we've heard a lot about the Global South. We need that. So please, if you know someone or you are that someone, please put your name in the hat. As I said, Takeru has agreed to be Asian representative again. His major role will be to help continue to coordinate that 2024 meeting. That will be his service to TDWG. And he comes from the molecular genomic world, I believe, if I remember correctly, his background in what he does related to TDWG standards. North American rep, been two, Holly, did you serve for 2 terms? Yes. Okay, so we need a North American rep. Do we have anybody interested yet? No, not yet. All right, but call out to your colleagues. And European Representative Wouter, are you putting your name in the hat again, or are you opening the door to? You're opening the door. Yeah, you have. Okay, so thank you for all of that. And thank you for also opening the door and then for being a mentor and someone who helps us and helps everybody engage with TDWG. So for more information about this and how the call for nominations work, the deadline is 7 November, which is coming up. And if you have any questions, all of these people you saw stand up and all these names you've been hearing all week, we are all there to explain to you how the roles work, what the responsibilities are, how often we meet, all those detaily things that you might want to know before you throw your hat in the ring. Given the story I told you, I hope you take a moment to think, if you're worried that you think you don't have the expertise that somehow you've imagined you have to have before you can do this, to check with somebody, to reach out and say, hey, you know, I'm interested, but maybe I'm wondering. Please just talk to us. Aha, I think there's only one more slide after this, maybe. Woo. We want to come back to Christina, where are you? Yes, because you wanted to thank the travel agent.
Yes, I would like to thank to our partners from Vibe Systems for taking care of the video streaming, also to Grand Hotel Millennium who host us, and the travel agency which performed the trip to Riva Monastery. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Christina. So with that was a lot. We'd like to say safe travels. We can't wait to see you again, only in a slightly different part of the planet. And we look forward to working with you all year long. Thank you. You're welcome.